Hey guys, welcome back to a new video, and today I wanted to actually go into depth of why we're moving to West Virginia and to actually give you guys a little backstory in case you've never heard of me talking about this stuff. There's a lot to talk about, and I think this is a really important video to make because we're leaving Pennsylvania, and this is where I've been living at for 19 years. I actually didn't think we'd end up moving to another state, and we haven't yet, obviously. But I never thought we'd actually be thinking about moving to another state. To give you guys a little backstory before I start things off, in 2020, the infamous year, we were actually thinking of finding a house to rent. Like $8.95 a month for rent, you know, not too expensive, but not too big of a house. Because surprisingly, Ashwood Apartments was not the best place to live at. We had constant problems with neighbors. It was so loud, I could barely sleep, like, at all. Like, I'm not even joking. I think there was a whole year I went without sleeping. Now, I don't want to get into that because I could talk about that stuff all day, so I'm not. We wanted to get out of there. We wanted to find a house. We wanted to finally stop living in an apartment for once, because apartments aren't amazing, you know? You have neighbors. It's not your own, like, I don't know, property, I guess. Even renting a house at least gives you the ability to have your own, like, property to rent. In Ashwood, the property was rented by like 50 people, so yeah. Before the stupid pandemic happened, we were looking for houses to rent. We really weren't thinking of buying a house because it seemed crazy for us because we're poor, and we still kind of are. But towards the summer of last year, before everything happened with the fire and Ashwood Apartments burning down and us being homeless for a month and me gaining some traction on this channel, we were starting to think, okay, maybe we should buy a very cheap house in Pennsylvania. Something not too far away. We quickly realized it was going to be really hard because there's not many cheap places around. And another thing is we had to wait for my dad's credit to be good because realistically you need good credit to buy or rent a house. Now, my dad's credit is really good and we really do have the ability to buy a house. Not that the fire was a good thing, but I can see a positive from it because I think it helped us realize what, I don't know, I guess what we should do. I don't know. I'll put it this way. I think we would have been worse off if the fire didn't happen, and I'm not even joking. But the fire was not an amazing thing either, you know? It affected a lot of people. But yeah, I don't want to talk about that. That's not what this video is about. But the fire put us in a really weird spot because around this time, around the time the fire happened, we were thinking, okay, my dad's credit is going to be good enough next year, next February, March. That is when we're going to try to buy a house. And the reason why is because we didn't renew the lease with our apartment because we were gonna try to move that year in 2020. We were gonna try to move. Like even in 2019, I was like, I was writing community posts, I was tweeting, man, 2020 is gonna be a good year. I'm gonna graduate, we're gonna move in the summer, and that kind of happened. But the fire put us in a very odd spot because we were forced to find any place. We had to move here. And surprisingly, this is probably the best place we've lived at in the past 5 years. In the past, actually 10 years maybe. It put us in this weird spot because we were planning on having a house. You know, not having any neighbors, having our own space, having more space because this is just another 2-bedroom apartment that's 2 times more a month. And it's not a bad apartment either. Like, this is, like I said, the best place we've lived at for 10 years. It's quiet. We've had no problems with like literally anything or anyone. I wish we were living here for the past 10 years. Like, this is actually a great place. And it's a shame that we were kind of forced into it. But it put us in this weird like temporary spot where oh no, we have to live here for a while now before we even buy a house. So now it's today in April, at the end of April. At the time this video goes public, we actually are in West Virginia house hunting, which, by the way, the house hunting videos will come out after we come home. But yeah, let's get into why we're moving to West Virginia. And there's a lot of reasons, because when the fire happened, we realized if we're gonna buy a house, well, we might as well just move anywhere. We literally can. We can move to Colorado, Utah, Montana, Nebraska, Kansas, Mississippi, South Dakota. We can literally move anywhere as long as my dad gets a job and we can afford it. That's literally all there is to it. Well, it's more complicated than that, but I hope you get what I mean though. But the biggest reason we're moving to West Virginia is because even if we stay in Pennsylvania, we're gonna end up having to move like 2 or 3 hours away. And I'm gonna show you guys why later in the video. There's not a lot of places around within 60 miles or 120 miles. If we end up moving like 3 hours away but staying in Pennsylvania, my dad will still need to get another job. We are still moving far away. At that point, is there really a difference between 3 hours and 7 hours? I mean, if we move to West Virginia, my dad's gonna need to find a new job. If we move 3 hours away in Pennsylvania, my dad still is gonna get another job anyways. Is there really a difference? So we might as well just move farther away. Another reason why we're moving to West Virginia is my mom, my brother, my brother's dad are all planning on moving out of their states. My mom wants to get out of Pennsylvania. My brother and his dad wants to get out of Maryland. So it's likely we're all moving to West Virginia. Now, we were actually thinking of moving to South Dakota and Mississippi. South Dakota, for one, it's cool. Mississippi, my friend Paul lives there. And at the beginning of this year, we were like 99% sure we were moving to Mississippi because my friend lives there. If we can literally move anywhere, we might as well move to the state where my old friend lives. Now, we actually realized that would be really hard because that would be a 16-hour drive. Now, I guess in theory, we still could move to Mississippi, but I'm gonna tell you guys more reasons why we're moving to West Virginia. Now, the other thing about West Virginia, there's less restrictions there. Now, what that means is, since my dad does not have a degree in anything, it's actually harder for him to find a job in Pennsylvania than it is in West Virginia because apparently my dad, in theory, could get an electrician job in West Virginia. There's a lot of things he has knowledge on, except he doesn't have a degree, so he's not allowed to get any good paying jobs like that. Unless he decides to go to school for it, but he's already 55 years old, so what the heck is he gonna do there? It does put him and us in a weird spot because he doesn't have a degree. He does have the intelligence to be like an electrician or a maintenance guy or something, but there's a lot of restrictions, and you need licenses and degrees. I mean, for crying out loud, you need a license to cut hair. And I think it's the same in West Virginia, but I don't know. My dad does have a lot more, I guess, possibility of finding a job that pays him a lot. He could potentially find a job that pays like $38 an hour. That's almost 2 times the amount he's getting paid now. So that's another reason why we're moving to West Virginia, is because there's less restrictions there. And here comes, I think, the most important reason. We just want to get out of Pennsylvania. There's a lot of pros and cons, I guess, to stay in Pennsylvania. I think it would mentally be better for the both of us to move to West Virginia. You know, get away from everyone, be in the mountains. Now, I don't want to end up living in the middle of nowhere. I actually like this apartment because you can hear cars drive by, you hear people. It's not too quiet because when it's too quiet, it's a little too quiet. So when we're house hunting, I hope we find a lot of houses that are at least near civilization in West Virginia. Honestly, I want to move to West Virginia. What do we get from staying in Pennsylvania if my dad could find a job that pays a lot more in West Virginia? There's a lot more cheaper houses in West Virginia. Not to mention there's less taxes in West Virginia. Not to mention there's like 100 houses I found on Zillow that are half the price of most houses in Pennsylvania, but 2 times bigger. And there are some houses that if we buy, we could be paying 2 times less the amount we're paying now a month in this apartment. And we could find like a 4-bedroom house with a 2-car garage with a finished basement and only be paying 2 times less. So why would we miss that opportunity? There's so many cheap houses in West Virginia, like all across the state. It's really expensive to live in Pennsylvania, unless we move to the mountains. But like I said, if we're gonna move that far away in Pennsylvania, we might as well move to West Virginia. Like, is there really a difference? I will still be far away from family and friends. No matter what, we're moving far away. Keep in mind, West Virginia isn't that far away. Like, if we move to the farthest point in West Virginia, it'll be like 7 hours away from here. Now, my friend Paul, who lives in Mississippi, is 16 hours away. So that's a big difference. So it's not like we're moving across the country or anything. I did have a dream that we moved to Idaho. That was a weird dream. Honestly, not too hard to move to West Virginia. It's not extremely far away. there's cheaper houses that we can actually afford, that we can actually get right now. And I'm going to show you guys, like, visually that it's a lot harder to buy a house in Pennsylvania. So let's actually get to that. Alright, here we are on Zillow, and Zillow is obviously not the best place to look for houses. But let me show you guys why it's harder to find a place in Pennsylvania than it is in West Virginia. So here we are in Pennsylvania. We live around this area right here. As you can see, there's literally nothing around where we live, except for Pottstown right here. And they aren't, look at that, 147,000, 144,000, 112,000, 150,000. And mind you, these aren't like, these are all houses that are like 10 feet away from another house. Now there's these two in Norristown, 120,000, 150,000. Look at the prices. We're not looking for that high. We're not that rich. There's only like 22 houses around Boyertown for 80,000. It's pretty nice. We'd have to do a lot of work on it though. Here's the problem. There's already not a lot around us. I mean, we could move all the way over here, but it's still really expensive. 146,000. Like, oh my god. Let's go to lowest. There's this one for 19,000, but it's 3 hours and 12 minutes away from my dad's work. So there's a couple nice places, but not many, and they're all far, far away from us. Let's go to West Virginia. So, all across the state, there's about 449 houses. Keep in mind, if we're moving to West Virginia, we literally could move to any part of West Virginia. Why not? You know, my dad's going to have to find a job no matter what in any spot, so might as well just be anywhere my dad could find a job. So look at this one. Does it have pictures? It does. Look at this one. $45,000. And look, 2-car garage, 3 bedrooms. Look at this nice house. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a garage. Only $49,000. That's like $100,000 less than most of the places around here. Look at this one. Look at that. Look at that huge building we'd have on top of having that house for only $49,000. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. It looks like we'd have another building with a garage with an apartment above it. And there's actually a lot of them like that in West Virginia. Look at this one. $57,000. That's it. 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, a garage. Doesn't show the picture. If it's true, like, dang. What about this one? $59,000. 3 bedrooms, a garage. Look at that. Doesn't that look nice? I think that's a basement too. $59,000. For this house in Pennsylvania, would probably be $159,000. And look at this. $262 a month. Estimate. So likely we would be paying probably $700 a month for it. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know too much about that stuff. My dad knows more about that because he pays the bills. But that's the estimate payment for each month. $262 a month, which probably means times 3. Look at this one. $67,000 for this nice little house. Keep in mind, we don't need that huge of a house. It's just me and my dad. So there you have it. I actually don't know how any of you would not understand what I'm saying here, because I just showed you guys the places in Pennsylvania, all like around 120 to 150,000, and I just showed you a bunch of houses for under 70,000. So that is why we're moving to West Virginia, because we can easily find a house that we can afford in West Virginia, but in Pennsylvania, whew, it's a million times harder. Look, there's a huge empty spot around us. Look at this. 14 houses. And I don't even know how big of a radius this is, but look at this. 14 houses. 14. No matter what, if we stay in Pennsylvania, we're still going to be far away from my family and friends. So there's not that much of a difference if we're moving a little further away. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you would like to know more information, I'll try to answer some questions if you have any in the comments. But yeah, this is why we're moving to West Virginia. I don't see why not. It's cheaper. You know, you get to see some mountains. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. The house hunting videos will be coming out soon after this video goes public. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.